Hello, everyone. Welcome to episode 142 of the Sonic Movie Show, the only show that's about Sonic news, and Sonic movie news. My name is Ethan, and with me here today to talk about a movie is Devin.
We've played a long game, you and I, but now it's over. That's right, folks. This is the last
true.
episode.
That thematically works with this, but I texted you last night with the actual quote.
Yeah, I didn't know what the
I
fuck
thought
that
you
was. That's why I ignored it.
saw the movie at that point.
I would see
my favorite quote of this
like,
entire
sixology
is the Trinity of bitches united in their hatred. It's either Wesker or
it's witches.
He said bitches. He said bitches.
He said witches. He said maybe he said ditches.
He said quidditches.
Just like maybe just like Rob Zombie.
Sure. He said something. We watched Resident Evil, the final chapter today for y'all.
We've done it, by the way.
Yeah, we've closed the book.
Yeah, gotten through all of them.
What a book. It's weird. It feels like there's missing chapters in between each of the ones we saw.
Well, this is the final chapter. There wasn't chapter one. Maybe that's in development.
Movie released in 2017. A total 5 years after the previous one, which is crazy to me. Yeah,
that's actually a long time.
Yeah.
That is a long time.
The movie is 106 minutes long, 10 minutes longer than the last one, and also made 312,000, not thousand. Jesus, that's a bomb. $312 million.
No wonder they didn't
as
even
opposed
bother.
to the $240 million that Retribution had. But also as opposed to the $300 million that Afterlife had. So, this is the best grossing Resident Evil movie of the sixology. I have a feeling it still is the highest because I don't think Welcome to Raccoon City did well, being a freshly post-pandemic movie,
a smaller budget too.
But recent Resident Evil games might have actually hyped people to watch a movie that seemed like it was going to be based off the thing they played. So we don't know. We could look it up. I'm sure a year later it's done. Like it's got its box office.
Yeah.
This was once again directed by our Lord and Savior, Paul W.S. Anderson. Devin, we've given this man lots of shit. And I feel like recent movies we've watched has made me at least realize, and I hope you are in the same boat, it's made me realize that we've been way too harsh on this beautiful saint of a man who just understands how not to be a Nazi.
I think he's a fair... I think there's some, like, if you're talking about gods, right? There's some gods that are just pure evil, and that is our one guy who made... I don't even want to give him...
We're not naming
care
him.
about his name, but you know who he is. He's done Postal. He's done probably the worst movie we've ever seen, video game movie we've ever seen, Blood Rain. But Paul W.S. Anderson has done a lot of video game movies as well, and at least I can say, compared, like, if you're talking about gods... He's a fair god. Some things you don't agree with. All right, we don't agree with. But he's fair. He still gives us some good content.
He doesn't believe in
once
shitty things.
The other guy, Mr. Bull, whatever the fuck his name is, he is just pure evil.
Paul W.S. Anderson is the type of god that falls in love with a human and puts her in all his movies.
Yeah.
But we watched Resident Evil: The Final Chapter, and this is fun because the first Resident Evil movie was our fifth movie we ever reviewed. This was back in episode 38. Then we did Apocalypse.
When was that?
I don't know. Whatever episode 38 was.
Was that pandemic?
Yes. Yeah. Yep.
Right.
Episode 60 was Resident Evil Apocalypse. Episode 77 was Resident Evil Extinction. And episode 94 was Afterlife. We took a break between this series and did Welcome to Raccoon City when that came out for episode 109, and then came back for episode 128 to do Retribution, and today...
So we took a big gap.
Yeah.
I didn't even realize that was that big of a gap. I swear we did, like, the previous one, like, of this series, not the Raccoon City one. I swear we did that one, like, not that long ago. But when you say episode 90, we're not even at triple digits, I'm like, oh, That's been like over.
I'm pretty sure, speaking about episode numbers, I'm pretty sure at the top of the episode I said 142. This is 141. Doesn't matter. This is an episode of the Sonic Movie Show.
Sonic Movie Show, the final chapter.
Exactly. Well, I mean, I could keep talking and talking, but I talk too much. Why don't you tell me, what did you think about this movie?
Yeah, without getting into details, overall, like with this series, I feel like I enjoyed the first one generally the most. There's been some that have surprised me. I think the last one was the most surprising. It kept me mostly interested since probably the first two. But the ones in between, I'm like, eh. So I kind of wasn't looking forward to this, but also maybe a little bit because I'm like, it's got to be the last one. It's got to go out with a bang. And overall, I'm leaving with being, I guess, disappointed. But also my expectations weren't very high, and I just come away being like, all right, I did that. I watched all these. I don't feel like I was rewarded for it too much. It's just a weird ending too. I'm just overall, I just feel like it's a weird ending to a long-standing movie franchise, or story, I guess you can call it. But honestly, this is just peak Paul W.S. Anderson, though. At the same time, overall, it just kind of was like, for me. And I feel like it sucks that it was just at the end. Like, it couldn't even like give me something to chew on, give me something to think about, give me something, I don't know, just something. I really felt afterwards, I'm just like, oh, cool.
For me, nonplussed is the word I would use. Like, I was upset when we got to like the third movie and be like, this is nothing like the second one. Like the way the second one led it to believe. And then they pulled that shit on us again. And then again. And again with this movie here. But I don't really care at this point. I'm just like, whatever, nonplussed, I guess.
Go to the next set piece. This is what at this point, that's where I was going into this. I'm like, just bring me to the next set
correct, piece. Having watched all of them now. There was no plan. I think about remember the battleship. Well, there was no reason to have that story in the grand scheme of things, because there was no grand scheme of things. They just kept making these. You know what I mean? And this you could tell he was trying to tie some sort of knot to end this chain, this string. He was trying to tie. He was trying to have some sort of ending. You got the hints of this in the previous movie when suddenly the red holographic girl was just a thing again. This made no sense, but they wanted to make it, oh, remember her, and yes, she's back, and yes, it's actually you the whole time, and yeah, blah 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 blah. You could tell like there was an attempt to do something, but I firmly believe now, having watched all of these, that still, after every single one of these movies, it ends, he thinks he's going to do something and changes his mind and says no. I am honestly shocked that they did this shit again with the way the previous movie ended and the way this one began. I'm like, that wasn't even like on purpose.
And it's always the first 5 minutes. It's always the first 5 minutes. You know right away you're not getting what you expect.
Everything's destroyed?
I don't know what's the point of having a climatic ending ever? I stopped giving a shit, like you said, after the fourth one, where I'm like, okay, you've done this twice now, where you show it's going to be one thing and then it's not, and it
just becomes into a completely different movie. Let's talk about the structure of what these movies were. First movie and the last one in some ways are the same. Oh, get it? You're closing a circle. I understand. First movie is going through the hive to find something. Mysterious laboratory, traps, experiments, the dogs, etc. Okay. Second movie, city survival. It's the apocalypse, and they're gonna nuke it at the end. And you got Nemesis. Oh, remember they put Nemesis in that movie. That's the second movie. Third movie, Mad Max / The Walking Dead style. It's like in sepia. It's everything's a desert. We're running low on supplies. Type of zombie shit. Right. Fourth movie. It opens it opens with we are finally taking down Umbrella in Tokyo or whatever. We have all these clones. Snap shift. It's another generic sounding zombie movie where the survivors are in a building and they can't leave the building, then the zombies get in.
The last of the town, the
fifth
last of
movie.
the city.
Secret underground laboratory, all these clones, and the zombie survival outbreak is simulated, which we know in hindsight has no purpose for them to still do it. There was no reason for them to still keep doing that. Now that we know that their plan was working and they're done. They have like 3 days before they win. Why do they do that? So it's an escape to just get out of there. And then the sixth movie is go back to the first movie and do it again. For whether or not if that's good or bad, I appreciate when circles close like that. I appreciate that. Now, like all of these are just different zombie movie stuff, but none of them feel like they belong together.
But that's the biggest
fifth
thing.
Movie or that fourth movie did not need to happen. I would argue neither did the fifth movie. I would argue neither did the second or the third. If the end is the beginning and there was nothing to do in the way besides not know where the ending was, right? There was no reason for them to do anything else besides the fact that the antivirus was never here because it was never written to be here until the last movie. That's what boggles me. It's like you could wipe away 4 of these 6 movies.
And for folks who didn't watch any of those movies and for some reason is listening to this and only watched the last one, or for whatever reason you're listening to this and didn't watch any of them, you don't have to. I guess if you just have nothing else to do, maybe I'd recommend it. But the point to make, though, with all those different tone switches is that at the end of all the previous films going into the next one, it's not what you think it's going to be. And that's like we were just talking about. Like you said, we know the second one, we talked about the second one was just about a city escape, really.
And not a fun city escape like the beginning of Sonic Adventure 2.
No. But the end of the first one was she wakes up in the hospital and gets outside and everything is like destroyed and she grabs a shotgun and you're thinking, oh, it's going to be about the rest of the world or at least Raccoon City.
It implies that no one's alive. And instead, everyone's alive in the city. They're all locked in. That's completely different. Second movie ends with, okay, our good guy heroes, they break Alice out of another lab experiment chamber, and we're going to go do some cool shit. We cut to Mad Max land. That's the biggest jump right there.
And they're gone.
None of them are in the movie.
And they're
My
gone.
favorite is the little kid. Everyone else gets like somewhat of a comeback. That movie ends with her finding all these clones and okay, payback time. We're gonna have an assault on Umbrella's Tokyo headquarters or wherever they were from. It was in Japan. That movie quickly begins with that and then quickly changes into now she's just in a building with other survivors and they're trapped in there.
And it's in like
it was like in Seattle or something.
West Coast.
Because remember when they went into Nova Scotia,
LA,
there was the Russian plane. And then that movie ends with okay, we're on a submarine. And we won. Cool. But then some badass bitch, and I say it like that because that's definitely the vibe they were trying to get, but it looked really goofy. I didn't even realize it was supposed to be Jill from the second movie until the fifth movie when they did that. It's going to be an assault on this. So all these people that they saved die at the beginning of the fifth one. Fifth one ends with the last remains of humanity are in the White House, and it's a literal like tower defense fight for survival against the endless horde. And then this movie opens up with, nope, it was a trap.
Yeah, and everyone's dead but her. And the guy with the slicked back hair. He went somewhere. Like, I agree 100%. He had an idea, and then he quickly scrapped it, which I'll give him credit. In the sense of he has the creative balls to be like, fuck it. I don't care anymore. I moved on. I've changed my mind. And you all are still going to show up. And they did.
So like
I give him props for that. Like,
I can give him a little bit of props for that.
Shit.
My fear is not fear, whatever. There's a part of me that thinks, what if he didn't change his mind and this was his plan? That he's doing this on purpose. Like, no, this is bad, dude. Or he just doesn't understand
I don't
movies
know.
and
I don't
just
know.
thinks that this makes sense to do it like this. But yeah, that's how the movie
know.
opens. Everything's destroyed. And what sucks too is I don't remember who
Oh,
lives and who dies as the good guys in this movie. I don't remember this shit anymore.
all the characters in this movie, except for Redfield, pretty much are just
Disposable.
cannon fodder. Are just there to get attacked by zombies, so Alice doesn't.
Pretty much.
Straight up. All the times you see when they die, it's because a zombie gets them.
Best example of that in this movie, after she frees the prisoners in the tank, and they're like, "We want to come with you." I'm like, dude, they're just there to get killed. That's literally the point of this movie. Is they're not even characterized.
It's not even 5 minutes.
That's how you know they're literally just bodies to walk with you. And the fact that they don't even kill them before they kill Ruby Rose's character, who has one line of characterization: "I worked in a chop shop and I didn't like it." Besides that, she doesn't have any characterization. You know what I mean? She dies before any of them do, which I find funny. Like, yeah, this.
But yeah, the two people she saves from the tank get killed almost instantly because they go down the into the crater there, and they're the ones.
Oh yeah, you're right. There's that. There was a third one.
So it's
one who had a beard. He dies after the vents, the fan. But you're right.
Yeah.
People did die in the crater.
But yeah, they introduced like, we have this base, we need to protect everybody, and like a lot of people die, and I guess they won the battle by defending it. But then like. They just move on. Like, who gives a fuck about their survivors anymore, I guess. Like, they never, like, flash back to maybe see them, like, that maybe they're waiting on the cure. Like, I think that would have been interesting to be like, it's not just a race against the clock she has on her wrist. She knows that people in that building are still getting attacked.
I mean...
And that she can, like, something like that. They just completely, once they defend it, they just go in the crater and act like everything's chill outside of, like, what's happening in their party.
And it's funny, too, because, like... And I'm not trying to make these moral, like, arguments now, but, like, she has a timer. She knows the world will end in 2 days, right? And by the time of this defense, it's less than 1 day. It's only, like, 5 hours left. If she does not get to the antivirus and release it outside, everyone's done, right? So when they do the bait where they release a hostage and runs for, and they like basically risking everything to save this one person, when they know it's a trap or a trick or something, bro, at that point, I'm sorry, you just let her die. Don't let her in. Just don't. Like, the same thing, like, honestly, you say, like, we fucked the survivors in the building, we're just jumping in the hole. Honestly, good. You got something to do. Other people can do it. I wasn't
saying that way. I meant more just like the whole premise of them defending that was so, because they said there's a lot of like, they said like kids and older folk in there. They didn't show it, but they said like they made it seem like there was a lot of people in that building, and this was like the last spot, and they like defended it against the initial push, but then like they just leave because they have to do get the not the antidote, but the
antivirus,
the whatever is fucking antivirus. They need to go down there and get it, which I get the whole race against time, but like they never talk about it again about like, are they good? Did they die?
I mean, the fact that I forgot that there were other people in there, now, I don't know if that's for the better or the worse for this movie. I don't want to nitpick too, but they set up a lot of elaborate stuff in like 30 minutes. But whatever. I mean, at this point, like, this movie's jump around so much. She had a tactical clone ninja squad at the beginning of the fourth movie. Like, it doesn't matter.
And then they're shocked that she's a clone. I'm like, are you really
That's the thing.
shocked?
I would have expected that because she literally saw on 2 separate occasions that they were cloning her and mass produce. Maybe not necessarily thinking that she might not be the original, but that like she might not have the shock or care about the whatever if you're a clone or the original type of thing. But that was the other thing too. Like, I feel like this movie is more about clones than it is about zombies sometimes in terms of themes. You know what I mean? Like,
And it really tries to do the whole, like, is cloning ethical conversation, but really doesn't at the same time. I feel like that's what he wants to have, but he has, like, no, like, way to, like, talk about it besides, like, oh, the main character, there's a lot of them, and they all die.
Twice.
Oh, is that good? Is that good or bad? Like, how does that make you feel? I'm like, I don't feel anything because they're only around for, like, 2 minutes of screen time.
And you barely make them interact because that's expensive to try to pull off because it's the same actress doing multiple takes, you know? Yeah.
And then all the characters in this I don't give a fuck about.
Nope.
Unfortunately.
Did you, were you surprised that the real Alice was on the board of Umbrella Corp?
I wouldn't say it was, I not surprised, more of just like, oh, interesting idea. Too bad I don't.
I think if that character,
it's just
maybe even if they had it named as Alicia, like we knew it was the person's name was Alicia, but you didn't get to see them or hear them, but we heard about this person in previous movies, then the reveal might make more sense.
That'd have been more interesting.
I figured it out.
Yeah.
Not that she was a clone. Well, okay, I want to take it back. I didn't figure it out. But when they do the flashback and he's giving his, like, this is a company, it's like Amazon, and this one dude has a speech about how he proposes they end the world, and no one interrupts. I'm like, this is a little far-fetched and stupid, but hey, you know what? Maybe that's also supposed to be the point of how these companies work. I don't know if I want to give him that much credit. Again, he is a fair god, not an amazing god, but he's also not a terrible god, our Lord and Savior W.S. Anderson. But you hear her, you see him talking to someone, and you see this woman, and I'm like, oh, it's going to be her. She doesn't remember that she was the CEO or something like that. Then I see his gray hair, but I heard the voice, and I'm like, that's her, but it's the gray hair. I didn't put together that's like an old clone.
Can I actually talk about that scene? I don't know if this points to Paul W.S. Anderson's politics or not, because I feel like when you have these kind of scenes in it, I always wonder how much of it is the director either sharing his thoughts or sharing the opposite of his thoughts, maybe a little bit of both. But in that scene, he quotes that global warming, and then he says unchecked population, which is a legit right-wing talking point. Right-wingers always say that, oh, the reason part of the reason we have climate change is because we're overpopulated. There's not this many people should be around, aka a little fashy, don't you think? And that's actually just not true. The Earth is pretty big. People forget Earth's actually a lot bigger. It's just how we do things currently creates so much, shit that creates things like climate change. It's less to do, and it's mostly corporations and shit. So I just find it funny that a corporation's saying that. So maybe he's making fun of that. And maybe showing that, like, oh, they're kind of right-wing. I don't know if he agrees with those things. But I remember at this time, I feel like that was a general, like, conversation.
Yeah, and people were bringing up that stupid book or whatever was Idiocracy, which, like, is just straight-up racist and also not true.
Yeah, I just found that whole speech interesting because I'm like, this is the first time in this series where it's like, besides the cloning, which I said once again that the cloning felt very like he wants to have a conversation but doesn't show any sides to it besides, oh, feel bad maybe for all these clones.
What if it was you and you realized you weren't the original you type of thing? And then the real one sticks a contact lens in her eye and then downloads memories of someone else watching her play and gives it to Alice.
Yeah. Well, I was just going to say, like, this is the first time that I feel like there's any sort of actual, like, politics in it, and I just found that interesting. And I just felt like it was kind of random. Like you said, a little far-fetched. I
actually do like the idea that, well, he's a religious man, because obviously he literally brings the Bible to the meeting.
They never showed, like, prior that it's only this.
No, because I'm saying the real one that has the flashback, he had brought the Bible, and he talks about the flood as if it's a definitive thing as he presses the Bible. But if we pretend that that's not the case, it is kind of neat that the idea that, the real him had this big, grand, just changing humanity plan thing, and his clone interprets that as a religious thing is interesting. But no, I think he, I don't know, religious But it's funny, then that implies that if he was the real one, that there was like multiple versions of him as clones. Which is, I don't know. I feel like
it's so confusing, to be honest. But also I don't care enough to like really dive in and be like, okay, so this has got to be a clone.
It's hard to know the scope of this world.
When could she have been the original one or the second
I
one?
Forgot that she didn't remember before waking up in the mansion. But she also used to always say, "Oh, I used to work for Umbrella." And she says it in the beginning of basically all these movies, except this one, because they want to say that actually she's the 50% shareholder or whatever's clone. I just forgot that. I just assumed she remembered that she had her life. Like she had like short-term amnesia in that movie, and I just never realized, oh, she just still never remembers anything but this. Remember when she had superpowers? They got rid of it.
I also just realized a kind of a plot hole here of wouldn't the Red Queen not have been able to like do anything against her ever because she would be considered a clone of the owner, and also in general she was always considered like Umbrella property.
Yeah,
because they make that a point that like, oh, I can't kill what's his name with the slick back hair because he's an employee, Wesker, and then like, oh, well, you're fired, and then he immediately gets his legs cut off, which I thought was cool and hilarious. But like, that opened a lot of plot holes in my brain. I'm like, okay, when she first went down to the
in the original movie, yeah,
in the first movie, like, was she pretty much protected the entire time and probably she didn't need to have all
what
those
about in the
people
fifth
around her?
movie when she attacks her then too?
Yeah,
weird. And even throughout this movie where she's ordered to attack, I don't know, maybe she doesn't count because she's a clone, but at the same time I feel that the other guy, I don't know. This movie also has giant flying monsters.
I did like them.
The design's not bad. I just didn't like the idea that it's, I don't know.
I don't know why they're still around though after the.
Well, she says at the end,
destroyed.
It's going to take a while for it to spread through the air. But I'm like, these things are flying. Should they get hit first? I don't know.
I just don't know if they're zombies or if they're just like so far gone that they're supposed to be something else entirely. I did like generally the monsters in this, and that's one thing throughout the series that I do like is I generally like the monster designs in it. But they're just not happening enough, or they're not scary because they're only shown once and they immediately get killed by Alice. I wish that there was a monster throughout. Like, Nemesis was the closest thing we got to, like, there being a monster throughout that is an actual threat, it feels like. To anyone else but Alice. Alice never, throughout all these movies...
The only real threats are always
Alice
just people.
In danger.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
You're right.
Well, I was going to say, another, I guess, plot hole again. I don't want to be a plot hole guy, but they, like I said, they always make Alice to be like this super badass person, which is cool, fine. I like movies like that where sometimes they're just really good at what they do. And so at one point she had superpowers and she didn't. At this point, I don't even know if she does or doesn't. But twice in this movie she falls for basically another trap on the road. Twice. And I'm like, how
she
you
can't
so good
drive.
At, like, out predicting a martial artist type
well,
of
you
fight
see,
style.
Devin,
how did you find a way to think about the grenade? But then all of a sudden you're like, your car
talking
gets
about
hit,
DNA. I'm going to be this guy
cut.
right now for this joke. Talking about DNA. Well, she's a woman, so she can't drive. No, but you're right. She just gets like clipped twice on the road.
Twice in the same movie. One time I was like, okay, even the best, fail sometimes. Even Tom Brady throws an interception once in a while, but it happens twice, and I'm like, okay,
the same damn movie.
I was waiting for a third
in the
time.
fourth movie, an old plane, from Russia across the Pacific into Alaska,
which isn't. None of us could probably fly a plane like that, just even if we had to, like in a survival.
The best I could ever do is pull a Sully and crash it into the Hudson, or whatever that was.
At best, that's at peak luck.
I love. Just a side note, I love the fact that he was drunk But then because he didn't get them killed, people consider him a hero. Wasn't he drunk flying the plane? That's like why it's controversial with the movie and all that. Like, motherfucker is the cause of why they almost died. Don't give him a glorified hero movie.
It's the whole live a lot long enough to become the villain thing. You know what I mean? They always find something on you. You can't just.
They also cast Tom Hanks, so no one can be that upset. I wish Tom Hanks was in this movie. Instead, we have a bunch of people.
We're going down.
I don't think he talked like that.
Hot chocolate. That's the same movie?
Absolutely.
Right? Do they do hot chocolate as he's crashing the plane in the Hudson?
I did like her triple barrel shotgun. That was cool.
Yeah,
they should make those. I bet there's a reason why they don't, but they should.
Probably there's some mechanical way.
I don't even know how a real double barrel shotgun works.
At that point, you might as well do 4.
Right, 2 on 2. Well, I think they make
stack.
those.
Or you can have them side by side. Or maybe it's like the Dead Space gun.
Right.
Switch. You know, it could be
what
a vertical
cool
shot
ass
or
mechanic that
shot.
was. The game was built around
so dope,
angles. You know?
Yeah.
What a cool ass game design that was. Very unique.
Yeah, let's do that with shotguns, IRL.
I don't know how much would that really affect it all that. Well, I guess if they're
it's all about looking cool. It doesn't fucking matter.
Okay, so then here's what you do then, Devin. You have what looks like a double barrel shotgun, but then you press a button and 2 more rows flip up, so it's like a box with no top, you know, and they're all facing forward. Like
one of my routers has a little
Exactly. And you know what? Then there's an Uzi attached to the side.
Or you can play paper football with it.
It's heavy, you know.
But it works.
They also make like underbarrel shotguns you attach to rifles, which is weird to me. This movie had guns and people were being shot at. Did Clary live? Did Claire die?
No, she lives because she's at the end. Right. She wakes up Alice which, by the way, I hate.
She wakes up somewhere else.
Can't she just fucking die?
No.
Can't she just
die?
She
needs to be happy.
She can't die.
In a world where there's no one left.
She just can't die.
But like 17 people.
It's like, and then the reasoning why we need someone, we lied because we need someone to prove that they're more human. It's like her whole life has been pain. If my whole life was like that, I can tell you right now, I'd find any way. If I save the world and if I have to die in the process, I wouldn't hesitate, wouldn't even think about it because my whole life. Yeah,
they didn't really give her much of something to lose.
Assuming like there's a lot of stuff that happens outside what we see in the films. All her friends and all the people she's known along the way have all died. from lovers to kids to young to the old. It doesn't matter. They've all died. How is she not she'd be so fucked up in the head that I think I don't think it's about being more human. I think it's like I live in a world that
she has nothing to lose, so why not try to save the world by dying? You just made me realize
that she dies. Yeah.
The daughter of one of her clones, who she saves, the whole reason why lots of people die in that 5th movie is because she's saving this kid. Dies in between these 2 movies.
Yeah.
You're not my mommy, aren't
sad.
you? Well, I am now. Not for long. She died when the White House blew up. They all did.
He watched, I think he watched Alien 3. Or any of the movies where they kill off everybody. They're like, oh, you liked that character? Well, too bad. I'm doing that. It feels like that, but he took it to another level to where it's
I wish
so
they killed
awful.
Claire.
Just like...
For no reason. Just because they do that with everyone else.
I wish everyone died in this film. And that's the moral of the story.
Yeah, fucked up. Amazon.
We fucked up? Yeah. Or you let the corporation win and they realize they don't know how to do any of the tasks of rebuilding. Do you think the fucking billionaires know how to set up any sort of infrastructure? Because all the shit that they've had in their entire lives has been
Yeah, that
was already done.
As soon as they're like, and we're going to basically end the world, and only the chosen, justly few, which is us, in the company,
and which seems to be
right.
millions, by the way, millions of billions.
Well, no, I didn't. I got the impression that it wasn't that many people, but even if it was just that one room, they're all just executives or something. Someone that's. You know what I mean? There's definitely many tiers to that type of company.
Elon Musk is
but it's the people that
somewhere.
work at Umbrella Corp. Everyone else is dying with them. Which one of y'all bitches is going to grow the food for someone else? It was definitely a moment of somebody has to clean the toilets type of moment. You can't have this world back again. Yeah. You realize that, right? You can't have this world back again. You're starting with nothing. And we all know in real life, billionaires like having the little bit of luxuries they have now before the world ends, as opposed to not having it at all in the hopes that the world continues.
And it's not like where they were was in like an area that is like fertile for like crop growing. There's no fucking animals. They're all eaten.
What's their plan?
Or unless they had like something down there that they didn't show of just like a garden, but like even then I'm like I would love to. That's how the movie ended, and it was just like, fuck, we actually can't do anything. We rely so much on the poor people that we pay shit wages to actually make everything work.
That's what makes me think that
that should have been the big lesson at the end. To be like, not what you expected, but this is the lesson.
We're all miserable. That's what makes me think this might be a right-wing viewpoint type of movie, because they don't have that realization. Somebody's got to clean the toilet. Somebody's got to grow the corn.
Yeah, someone's got to. How do they even get up there? Like, what are they gonna do once they? Like, I'm just so curious. I want a whole spin-off Apple TV spin-off series of what it's just the people. It's an alternate universe where they all did survive, or all the rich people down there did survive. Alice fails, and they do the thing. I just would love just to show them that, just as like, well, do you know how to build a house? No. Do you know how to build a house? I mean, I watched a YouTube video,
and I can't access it anymore because the internet's gone.
Oh, we have no access to any material. Oh, everything out here is just destroyed.
But I have all my money and my smarts.
Yeah, yeah.
Ugh.
I will say that one positive thing. Speaking of destruction, I did like how everything looked visually in terms of the cities and stuff. Like of how destroyed everything looked, and I love the color palette and whatnot. Yeah, I just felt that looked really good.
Something about the Washington Monument didn't make me feel right. Either it needed to be collapsed or intact, because there were two very specifically placed chunks taken out of it. Or I'm like, there's no way whatever caused the chunk to fall off didn't also destroy it. I didn't buy that.
I think it's just telling people it's DC.
Oh yeah, for sure.
For some reason,
for sure. And I get it. But
also, where is Raccoon City?
Somewhere within 2 days of a motorcycle from DC. I'm sure they did say, and I'm sure the games have a place. You know.
Yeah, I just don't remember if they said it in the other movies or not.
They might not have.
Like,
I mean, hey, she went from Nova Scotia to Alaska by plane, and then somehow went all the way back to DC.
She went to Japan somehow.
That's how she went. And then she went north to Nova Scotia.
Oh, I just remember her appearing in Japan. I'm like, oh, okay.
She walked across the land bridge.
The trains are still running.
Yeah,
the trains still running.
I don't know. Do you have anything else to talk about with this movie? I mean, let me put this out here now, because we're talking lots of stupid shit. The movie's fine. Like, don't have any expectations. By now, you already know that this has nothing to do with the games. Like, I knew the 3 movies in that at this point. The last 3, definitely whatever. You know, these are just zombie movies at this point. Knowing that, it's fine. It's not. It's fine.
I just wish it ended differently, or just gave me something to think about. It just felt very like, we don't know what else to do, so she survives,
but going to continue doing the same thing.
She saves the world
because I have work to do, and she fights the flying things. Like, oh my god. What if y'all know that there's like 2 settlements left? It made it seem as if there's like the last remaining settlement. Yeah, there's 10 people. There is at the very most 250 people. I bet it's a sixth of that number. So, have everyone just hide and let the virus or the antivirus work its magic and then go outside.
They said at the beginning when the Queen gives her the 48 hours, she said there's like around 4,000 people left. And it was dwindling quick. Also, probably a good chance that those 20 people don't survive. Just, even if you take away zombies, just like it's hard for animals and just species to survive when there's so little. That's why it's so important to protect endangered animals, because even if they reproduce, shit eats them. They get diseases. They get sick.
Yeah.
They trip.
Nobody
over, or they're driving their motorcycle and they run into a trap. And not everyone is built tough. Like Alice is. She's not. Yeah, Alice is built for.
I bet the right wing politicians in the panda world say nobody wants to fuck anymore. Is that like they're not reproducing? They're not interested in it. So like they're not helping themselves. Yeah. Nobody wants to fuck anymore. Okay. Back in my day,
no one wants to work and no one wants to fuck. That's been the
everyone's just on the TikToks. I mean, just a movie is a movie. I don't know.
I feel like in terms of it's hard for me to rank them.
I'm not even interested in ranking them anymore.
And I don't want to rank them, but I just want to say like this one is definitely down there for me. Like I think the first one's probably at the top.
The ranking is the order of release. 1, then 2, then 3, then 4, then 5, then 6.
Honestly, yeah, I would say 5. I find just a little bit more interesting.
You're right. And 4 is the worst. 4 is the worst.
4 is awful.
Yeah.
The 5th one had the cool we're in simulations.
Ada Wong was in it.
We got our girl Michelle Rodriguez. Michelle Rodriguez?
Leon was in it.
Leon was in it briefly.
No, now I'm upset.
So that had interesting moments, but yeah, this there's too much going on. There was no plan. They didn't have a Kevin Feige working on all this. Do you think? I know they said it's the last one, but do you think there is still maybe a chance that one day we'll get another one, even a spin-off series that's directly connected to this universe specifically? That maybe Paul S. Anderson, he has an idea and he gets an Apple TV deal. You know what I mean?
No.
I say no.
I mean,
but all the other Resident Evil shit that's been coming out that he hasn't touched, hasn't made a lot of money, or hasn't been well received. This makes me think that maybe Capcom will be like, fine.
Maybe.
They won't have Jokovic in there, but
I don't know. Because I don't want it. I don't know. We don't even know what they would do.
Yeah, I don't want it either.
It's the final chapter. You can't have I guess you can have an epilogue.
The Return. Resident Evil: The Return.
Wait, so none of them, like it's not like it was called Resident Evil 2 Apocalypse. So you title the next one Resident Evil 2. Like that was all Resident Evil 1 in 6 chapters. Now we're Resident Evil 2.
Oh my God.
She's back, baby.
And it's all subtitles from here.
It's all
on
Resident Evil 2
so
this, Resident Evil 2 that, Resident Evil 2 like Final Fantasy 7 remakes sequels.
Yeah.
Final Fantasy 7 Rebirth.
That'd be crazy. No, I think this is done, and I feel like it ended on a pretty no. But the whole series is but it's fine. It's fine if you like it. That's cool. I think it's good to have on the background.
To like things.
Like I said. Yeah, for me, it's something I think if it was on TV, and I'm also doing other stuff, I won't change the channel.
As long as if I'm doing other things, I won't go out of my way to change the channel.
if I'm dusting off the shelves, maybe read a book.
Ew. Reading a book and having a movie on at the same time is so distracting.
Yeah, I mean, I really can't do it. I wanted to act sophisticated, but the truth is, I can't read without there being like either dead silence or just like a fan running or something.
Exactly. And even then, noise. I stop so often. Yeah, Resident Evil: The Final Chapter, 2017. That was 5 years ago. That's insane. It's a lot of fun watching these movies. There are in the future animated Resident Evil movies that we'll be doing at some point in the future.
I hope those are funner.
More
Funner,
fun.
huh?
I saw a clip of a gunfight that looks. You saw it too.
Yeah. I've seen
and
it.
that's the impression
that already looks
I've gotten,
crazy.
is that's what the ridiculousness of them all. Then there's that Resident Evil. I think is it a live action Netflix show? Because we don't really cover shows. We don't really review them. There's a lot of effort to do, but there's that's going on.
Maybe one day in the future if we run out of video game movies, but there's a lot out there.
Don't think we ever will.
But if we ever,
Devin, there's over 100.
But maybe one day, who knows?
Well, and then there's that Welcome to Raccoon City. Maybe it gets a sequel. Right, Resident Evil is.
I don't think so.
At this point, Resident Evil is a film-saturated IP. Like they can always just make another. Even if it's not connected to anything, just make another.
I say they do a Biohazard, just call it Biohazard, but obviously it'd be Resident
I
Evil.
wonder if in Japan these movies were called Biohazard.
Maybe. Yeah. Biohazard, the final chapter.
Well, any last thoughts?
I wish we had something more to talk about with this.
It's fun to end stories, but I didn't really have fun.
Yeah.
So I'm sorry.
I'm sad it peaked like
the second one.
At the
yeah.
Really.
So when we were like, ooh, like still.
Is there any Paul W.S. Anderson movies we haven't seen? Like video game movies. So we've seen. Because he's also produced some other films that we've reviewed, and we didn't know he produced until like during the credits or whatnot. We were always like shocked.
Do.
In some of the movies, I'm always like, oh yeah, I can tell he produced this because the action is at. There's a cut every like.
This is his filmography as a director. Shopping. Mortal Kombat Behind the Scenes, Event Horizon, Soldier, The Site, Resident Evil, Alien vs. Predator, Drift, Death Race, Resident Evil Afterlife, The Three Musketeers, Resident Evil Retribution, Pompeii, Resident Evil The Final Chapter, a TV show called Origin.
He did The Three Musketeers.
That's a 2011 movie.
Oh, not
I am going up.
Martin.
Monster Hunter, and then a movie coming out called In the Lost Lands.
Huh. So yeah, he's done Mortal Kombat. That's the one I remember. But he's done other. I know he's like produced other stuff that like we've reviewed. But like I said, like I could tell when he's touched it because either the plot is wild and jumps around a lot, or the action itself jumps around a lot. I don't know if you noticed in this movie that like it felt like there was a cut during every fight scene, every like half frame. It felt like it was.
Yeah, it was tough to follow. You're right. I just realized Paul W.S. Anderson didn't direct the second Resident Evil movie. That was Alexander Witt. He produced and wrote it. But yeah, Alexander Witt did.
He still has hands.
Maybe that's why I like that one a lot. He did Prince of Persia: The Sands of Time.
Which he
did Skyfall. Oh, this is all camera stuff. Hold on. As a director, he's got 5 movies, and Resident Evil Apocalypse was his first. But he's a camera guy. Yo, he was director of photography on Triple X.
Oh yeah. I remember that now. I remember in the episode we were like, oh, it's
X-Men First Class, Skyfall, Spectre, No Time to Die.
He's good. It seems he's in a lot of action movies, but the action in this movie wasn't very good, unfortunately. Yeah, I don't know. I just wish he brought his A game, and we just got just had a solid film to end on.
Weird. Okay, well, this has been an episode of the Sonic Movie Show. We love doing these video game movies. We hope you guys like them too. We'll see you next time. I have fun watching them. I almost like watching them more than the Diesel ones because I don't have to write anything down when I watch these. I don't even have to pause the movie. My name is Ethan. I'm on Twitter at EthanAbsolutely. Devin is on Twitter at CursonaFun. The show is on Twitter at Sonic Movie Show. It's also on TikTok at Sonic Movie Show. And Instagram at Sonic Movie Show? No, we're not on Instagram.
No,
don't steal that name in case we ever want to.
Maybe one day. But
Instaham. We'll see you next time.
Insta, you're gonna get these hands.
You're gonna clap. You're gonna clap. Catch hands, not clap hands.
Clap back.
Catch your hands. Have a fantastic day.
You're all gonna die down here.
They did say that at the end of the credits.
Yeah.
Stupid ass movie.